Hello, this is John, Advanced Fisherman. Today I've got a Slosh 30, an a Daiwa SL30SH. Picked it up from off a Facebook page. It's a little needy. I bought it knowing this cap was broke. There was part of it hanging on there, and I've got a replacement cap for it. I've got some ABEX 7s to go in there, and I got a Carbon-Tex washer upgrade. So let's see what we got on the inside under the hood. The outside looks a little rough. It did come with a clamp, which is conveniently put together upside down. It's a pretty smart way to ship it. Take that apart. I will clean that clamp good in some oil and stuff. Give it a little protection from the elements. There's the handle screw. Let's get these back out of the way here. Let's take that. Don't think that's a 10 millimeter. There you go, if it ain't. Yeah, good. Oh. Trying to keep my bench in frame a little bit better on this video. The handle, the whole reel is kind of just beat up, but it's not horrible, and that's fine for what I'm going to use it for. It's going to be a surf reel, and so we're all good about that. All right, take the drag off. Now, those are supposed to just be spool bearings. I didn't get the rest of the bearings for it. It does have the, I should have turned it for you. Well, let's do it. It's got a squeak in it, but I think it's the handle. Not a problem. It's been serviced before. Not very not abused or misused. It's just typical for a reel. It's been well used and probably caught a lot of nice fish. Okay, we got that. There are 4 screws around the trim plate there. Actually 6, because you got these 2 on the gearbox. Let's take those off. It's a non-mag reel. You use centrifugal weights in it. If you get your thumb educated right, you can cast them with no weights at all. They're pretty good. I still use weights. I have my moments on the pier casting and surf. That's when I reach over the cart and grab the spinning gear and say, today just wasn't the day. I wasn't sure if I would do a video on this reel, because I have done a video on an upgrade to the same model reel. This reel is new to me. I've never been inside of it, so we'll just see what we got. Take that trim ring, and sometimes, and the reason why I'm removing the trim ring is sometimes they hide a screw on you up there. I know Penn does. It doesn't appear to have anything hidden, so it's just, she just looks like cow's grease in it. So somebody loved it pretty good. No complaints. attempt to slide this trim plate off of it, but I'm going to have to take the handle off. And I'm going to remember that spring orientation right there. Now let's go ahead and just slide the handle. Not necessary to remove this handle, but I'm going to give this thing a thorough cleaning so that it's ready. Alright, that's the whole cover. Well, no, it's not. Let's take the tensioner off. Man, I don't think there's much of anything up under there. It's just a plastic bushing. And I don't think those are going to come out. Might. They're not going to want to come out of there. I'll clean that with oil. Okay. 2 springs. Now here's where we pay attention, and this is trash, so I'll just go out the trash in a minute. We've got this drag stack, or the press stack for the drag. In there like that. I always lay it out for the, there's a bearing. I lay it out so I can go back and look at the video later, right before I put it together, and make sure I've got it right. Well loved. That's, in my opinion, way too much grease on that drag, in my opinion. Ooh. Put that back where it was. There's the whole drag stack, gear and all. Not too much more to take off of this reel on this end. You got 2 little bitty shims that go underneath those springs. Do not lose those. And your yoke and your pinion. You've got your anti-reverse dog. See if I can find something to grip that with the spring. And there's a shim in there too. Jack plate. There are 2 screws, and there's a I think there's a gosh, let's do a bearing underneath this. And there's a shim. Don't forget that shim. That will fall off in the wash, and you might never find that little dude again. I love how these real manufacturers love to throw one at you like that. put the bearings over here and I'll inspect them later. I don't think either one of those bearings are replaced. I'll wake up in a minute. My coffee's still brewing. Okay, we are done on this side of the reel. Let's go to the business end. Well, this is the non-business end, I guess you could say. 3 screws. They're really corroded, but they came off. These sloshes are the 20s and 30s are well loved with people, and me included. I rank them right there with the Penn GL and Mag series. They're just phenomenal reels. All right, we're going to have to separate that. I usually take an old X-Acto knife. See if I can find it anywhere. I wonder what I did with it. I know you're all seeing more bald headed. Oh, I know where it's at. Well, we'll take a new knife and just give it just a slight twist to get that ring started. Try not to bend it. All right, and then we can push the spool to remove. Okay, good. All the parts are here. There's your spool. Don't lose the flyweights. Take those off. One flyweight was on backwards. Not sure what's up with that. A lot of times you'll get these reels and they'll take the flyweights off and break these pins off. For what reason, I have no idea. The pins are important to me. Okay, the ring here, you can't, well, you shouldn't try to remove that. So we're going to take, because there's a bearing underneath there I need to get to. Try not to bend that ring at all. If you do, it's gonna cast really shitty. So take the screw off. Like I said, be very careful that you don't bend this ring. You can pop the spring for the line out clicker. Then there's a plate. You can pop that, slide it out from under there. Now here comes the hard part. Well, damn if that didn't go the easiest I've ever tried to do one. Now if I can take this spool, yeah, this will work on that side. Take this side, try to walk that bearing up out of there. This sometimes I don't have a bearing puller, so this is a anxiety moment for me. I really need to purchase me a good bearing puller. Not gonna lie, it's coming, I think. Yeah, it's coming. There it goes. There's the bearing. That bearing gets replaced, I'm pretty sure. I'll put it over here. Down underneath there is a shim. A good sharp X-Acto knife, hobby knife, whatever you want to call it. We'll get that out of there. There it is. It's either one really thick shim or maybe two smaller shims. And I knocked it back in place. There it goes. Okay, we're good. Let's see. It's one thick shim. that plate that was over top of the bearing has felt on it. I'm not sure why. That felt's not really going to be needed with the new bearing. It's a sealed bearing, so that's done. Okay, one more bearing. It's up under here. Make sure you put your finger over top of this retaining spring, because if you don't, you're going to be looking for it. Because see how fast it just popped? These things will go into orbit. That bearing there can be pushed from the inside. Just take the back of it, whatever, and push it out of there. And so there's the complete reel tore down. Can't tear it down any further than that. I guess you could, but there's no need. We'll clean these bearings up and look at them. This fluid is just CLP, Lucas CLP, Clean Lubes Protects. And what I do, I'll heat this up a little bit, get to a slow roll boil, and let it clean those bearings for just a little bit. Just knock some of the crud out of the inside of them. There it is. We'll clean it up and I'll be back. I'm back. I've got everything cleaned up. I think I'm ready to build this thing. Let's see. The last thing I took off of it is this bar right here. I don't even know if I showed that or not. It just slides up in here. It's just like a guide for the line to slip over. You just push it out. It's made to recenter itself. I'm just going to go through and check for any crud that I might have missed. Really nice, you know, for a reel that's been used. It's been taken care of. It's been loved on. Okay, that looks pretty good. Let's move on to the covers. Just give it a little sponge bath here. Make sure I didn't leave anything behind. Telling you at WD-40, that vat or container full of WD-40 is the best way to clean some of these parts. Just doesn't get any better. Looks pretty good. Let's see if I left anything on this. Yeah, a little bit in there. Good, got it cleaned out. Like I said, the handle's not beautiful, but it's smooth. I don't see any reason why we can't go ahead and build this thing. So I got my new drag washers out here. I got my two new bearings. The two bearings I'm gonna go back with are still out here. Just looking it over good, making sure I'm ready to go here. Only corrosion I saw on the reel is that rivet right there. It's not going anywhere. We'll put the bearing back in this side of the reel. I did leave a little bit of grease in there. I'm going to clean that out good. Okay, so it got this bearing here. Well, I hope they've given me the right bearings. It doesn't look like it wants to fit there. I don't think that's right. Don't think that's right. So we may not be doing a bearing upgrade after all. Doesn't look like it wants to fit. Let's get the originals back here. Yeah, it's definitely different. Definitely the wrong bearings for this reel. Good grief. Yeah, I'd say that's wrong. So that's not the right bearing. I don't even think this is the right bearing. These came from Boca. I'm telling you, I have nothing but trouble with Boca anymore. Yeah, wrong bearings. So we'll have to go back with the originals. Don't even know what these bearings go to. Let me stop here and make sure I don't have another set of bearings somewhere. I might have got something mixed up as they came in. Be right back. Yep, definitely was sent the wrong bearings. I have no idea what these go to. They'll just go in my bearing drawer. It's probably $30 worth, or no, probably $50 worth of bearings ruined there, or wasted. I have no idea what they go to, so. It is what it is. It's a backup reel. I'm not going to get too upset about it. And so I'm going to put the original bearings back in, and I'm going to definitely hit them with some oil. I don't know what kind of shape they're in, to be honest with you. They don't feel horrible, but the open end of this bearing needs to go towards the gearbox. And I don't think there was a felt washer in there. I believe it just took that snap ring. Okay. Okay. The small bearing here goes down into that pocket and give it some oil. That's just a handle bearing. It doesn't spin super fast. There's a little bitty washer shim that goes down in there. Don't forget that. Set that down in there, and then this retainer. I probably should pay attention. Well, I guess, well, it could go either way, couldn't it? Maybe like that. I'm not sure it matters. it does matter which way you flip the plate because it's countersunk, but I don't think it matters which way it goes on there. This is your anti-reverse cog. Goes in like that. Now, stay still there. I know I'm off frame. I'm apologizing ahead because it's a little bit nerve-wracking here, but you got a post that goes in. Spring. Wrong. Leave the spring. No, ain't no way it goes like that. Yeah. Let's hope I got this right. No. Something ain't right. That has to go on the back side of this post. I believe that's right. Okay. We'll find out. You got, oh gosh, don't dump it now. Let's put little cows on some washers here as we go. At least Carbon Tech's got my drag washers right. A little bit aggravating, I ain't gonna lie. I'm a little aggravated with Boca. I need to start measuring my bearings ahead of time and order them and let the project sit until I get everything in, because either there was a difference in the sloshes over the years and they changed the bearing sizes, or I was sent the wrong bearings. So we got a jack plate that goes in here. We'll lube that up good. Okay. Get both sides of the jack plate. Hope y'all can see this. The pinion, we're going to grease it up good. Grease it where it rides in that yoke. Go in the yoke, pinion goes in like this, okay? And then there was two washers, or shims. We'll put the springs on last. Let's go ahead and grease the pinion. All right. We'll grease up the main gear. I just kind of put it on there and then take my finger and go around and work it into the teeth. Golly. That thing don't want to sit up. Okay. Then your main gear goes down, mesh it with the pinion. Like that. Then we can start with the drag stack. You've got a large washer, large drag washer. That stuff's really soaking up the cowls there. Then it's going to get a metal keyed washer. Got a little bit of oil on that. Let me clean that off a little bit. Keyed washer, then another fiber washer. Like I said, it's really, these new washers soak this cowls up, so compensate for that. If you want to see how I do it, and how I've been taught to do it by other people in the business, is I put it on to where I can take my thumb off and it leaves my impression of my thumbprint on there. That's just about right. You got a eared washer, and those ears bend down, or well, they're going to bend down. They got a bend in them. They go down into those two pockets. Okay. Then you got a small, not the smallest one, but a smaller drag washer. It goes on. And then I call this a press plate. Everybody has a different terminology for it. I've always called it a press plate. And you got a shim, a bearing. You've got a stepped washer that has a felt washer in it. That will go back on there. The felt goes towards the bearing. That's to keep the bearing sealed. Can't hurt to put a little bit of oil up on that felt washer. Then you've got your concave, convex washers. Put them in opposing each other. That gives you a smoother adjustment on drag. And then we're not going to put this in just yet. Okay. Go ahead and put your springs on there. I'm going to go ahead and lubricate each one of these inserts. So when my screws go in there, they're carrying grease down with them. Okay. Okay, we're going to set that right there. Hopefully it'll sit there. Probably won't. Yeah, it stinks my bearings weren't right. I may end up ordering the correct bearings. And getting them in here. Now your eccentric you've got a hole in the eccentric where the bend on this wire goes up into. Put that, it'll probably fall apart on me. Now, got it. You got to get this You gotta get this up in there. Alright, like that. So there's how that's, whoops, trying to fly apart on me. Then you put your eccentric lever. You might have to move it just a little. Well, hold on. Hold the horses. If I don't put this in there now, I'll never get it back in there. So go ahead and put your trim ring in, and then put your eccentric lever on. You got a screw with a tooth washer. All right. This plastic piece goes, it's like a bushing, I guess, for lack of better terms, goes in there like that. Put some oil and a dab of grease to seal those threads. Tighten that down. Now we get to line it all up. Which can sometimes be difficult. I believe it needs to slide just a little bit. So the problem is you got to get this aligned with the jack plate, and you're flying blind because you can't see anything down in there at all. There we go. Once you get it, you got it. Hold it all together and you ain't got it. That's not even coming close to turning that. So back we go. Somehow or another, yeah, I got it above the jack plate. Golly. Let's try. That ain't even close. That might do it right there. There we go. Let's hold it together. No. I don't know. We'll try it and see. Not overly confident in it. 2 screws with regular heads on them go down here. And then you got 4 countersunk screws. Yeah. All right. Thought the camera wasn't running there. Oh me. I'm all discombobulated after finding out I was given the wrong bearings. That just ticks me off. And shipping's just so much to ship it back now. What do? You know? And these companies know that. They send you the wrong stuff. They know you're not going to go through the trouble of trying to get a return on it because Everything costs so damn much. You're just stuck, unfortunately. And it's going to be my word against theirs. They're going to say, well, you typed in the wrong thing or whatever. No, whatever. Like I said, if I had another source besides Boca that carried bearings for a little bit of everything, I'd probably go with another source. Just saying. Alright. I don't like the way that's hanging up. But I don't know why it's hanging up. Maybe it's because the spool's not in there to keep it all in line. Don't know. Alright, let's put the drag on. Give that a little bit of grease. No, that's right. Then this goes in. Not crazy about the way that fits. I'm not going with the power handle setting on this. I'm going to go with the speed setting. Tighten this down. Didn't see a handle washer under it. Doesn't mean it wasn't missing off the reel, but very little I can do about that now. Then you get the new cap that I did get right. Bought that off of eBay. I had to look the part number up. Daiwa no longer had it in stock. Couldn't get it. I looked the part number up and went on eBay, and there was like 10 of them on there. Okay, here we go. Let's put this together. We had, let's get all these parts over here. We had this little washer that's going to get some oil, and then we'll drop that washer down in there. Then it got the bearing, and then because I'm going back with the stock bearings, I'm going to put it back together stock. You got this little felt washer. It goes up against the bearing, and I'm going to pull it good. And put it in there. Then you get the retainer plate for the bearing. Goes up in like this. Sets into those two teeth. Like that. And this gets a little tricky here. You got to kind of feed this thing. Actually, it goes in. I was just trying to do it wrong right off the bat. It goes in like this. Then you got to get the pointer of the bait clicker or line out clicker between the gap of that spring, and then you can put your screw in. Be careful, speaking from experience here, when you go to put this screw in, you don't get your screwdriver against that ring and dent it. Be real careful. If you put a little bit of a dent in there, when those centrifugal weights fly out, you'll hear it hit there. It makes an god-awful sound, and it does hurt your casting distance. Okay. We're down to the nitty-gritty here. The spool, your two casting weights, they were on wrong. Well, one of them was. They go on with the curve out, the rounded end of them out. And one of them was on with the flat end out. And somebody just wasn't paying attention, you know. No big deal. I always like to oil the shaft because that pinion slides up and down on that shaft, and you really want that to be smooth. Whoa. Everything moving on me now. Alright. Got stuck. A little bit of grease on those inserts. Bait clicker goes up. Like that. Then your trim plate. 3 screws. You also want to make sure those flyweights are all the way in. I don't know if you noticed that I put those flyweights in before I put the end plate on. They will fly in and out on their own. You know, you don't, it depends on how fast the spools turn as to how far out they fly. Some engineers figured all that out. We'll give them credit for that. Most engineers are not worth their weight, to be honest with you. But somebody figured that out and did the math on it, and I'll go with what they figured out. Alright. Bait clicker works. That quietened it way up. Alright, the spool release is working. You hear those flyweights fly out? Hear them? These things make a really loud racket when you cast them. It's pretty wild. Oh gosh, the new drag is good. That's awesome. Okay, so the only thing left to do is put the clamp on it. You get a little bit of grease there. A little bit of grease there. You can insert the screws. Wipe off the excess. Your clamp, I need to do a little work on that. It's a little dirty. Your clamp can slide over the screws and just do like that. And I like the way they had it. I may actually put it back on there the way they had it. They had it upside down. This reel is going to be in storage more. It's going to be used. It's going to be a backup reel. So it's going to go in my pier box. And if I'm out there and an anchor reel blows up on me, I'll grab this one and stick it on the rod. You can go ahead and tighten them down. They'll hold that clamp there. It won't go anywhere. And I've got screwdrivers in my box. See? That was a pretty smart idea by the previous owner to do that like that. Well, there's my second Slosh 2030 video. I don't know. You know, if I hate to get too many of one thing. I got a bunch of ambassador videos out there and you know whatnot, but just trying to cover some of the cooler reels in the world. And even though these are fairly newer reels, they are, and I think they're still in production, they're also vintage. So you know, it's missing that emblem on the front. Don't care. That don't make it cast any better or crank any better. I really like it. It turned out smooth. It sucks I don't have my new bearings, but not a lot I can do about that. I'll put some 17-pound Suffix Tritanium. It's my favorite distance casting line. It's plenty strong. It's 15 pound diameter, 17 pound line. Casts really good. And you can pack a bunch of it on the spool, which is nice. There it is. I didn't pay much for it. I think I paid $20 for it. I got the drag in it. I got the one piece I had to replace. I don't have bearings in it now, so I can't count them as part of the cost. I may have another 20 in it. No, I take it back. I think the drag washers might have been, I might have 30 in it. So $50 for that reel. I will use it. That's what they sound like when you cast them. It's really loud. Those flyweights. Well, let me get the spool adjusted just right here. There we go. But those flyweights, when they come out, they make a distinctive sound. There it is. Thank you for watching. Please like the video if you like it. Subscribe to my channel to catch more content coming out. And this is John, Vintage Fisherman. Y'all have a nice day. Yeah. Gonna have to order bearings. It's a little gravelly. Here, there's one bearing in there that's not sounding too good. Anyway, such is life.